Cargo is the lifeblood of the galactic economy, which is why the most common ships in the galaxy are freighters. But you can't carry an entire planet's imports and exports 100 tons at a time on light freighters. You need something bigger. That's where bulk freighters come in. The line of what is and isn't a bulk freighter is not exactly clear, with some just breaking 100 meters and others the size of a city, but regardless of size, these ships are crucial to the functioning of galactic trade. Bulk freighters do not come in quite as many varieties as the seemingly endless light freighters, but there are still enough that a shipping company looking to expand to larger scale operations might need some help choosing one. And that's where I come in. I'm Joey from Radio Free Coruscant, and these are the best bulk freighters in Star Wars. BFF-1 Bulk Freighter. The first ship on our list is the BFF-1 Bulk Freighter. This medium-sized cargo ship was a relatively common sight across the galaxy. So common, in fact, that you could find many retired BFF-1s being used as space stations, hangars, bases, and more. It was often cheaper and easier to find a used BFF-1 to convert into a base than to purchase a purpose-built structure. It measured 121 meters long by 75 meters wide and 34 meters tall. It had a crew of 10 people and a cargo capacity of 4 Xizor Transport Systems Class 1 cargo containers. We don't know exactly how much cargo that equates to, but I have seen estimates ranging from 300 tons to 25,000 tons per container. Of course, the BFF's cargo capacity also made it an appealing target for pirates. While its design made it impractical to arm it, its cargo pods were heavily armored for a civilian ship to protect it. Unfortunately, the price of the BFF-1 is unknown, but it was probably about 150,000 credits. While a ship that needs to use a specific model of cargo container might not be appealing to everyone, the possibility of converting it into another structure when it reaches the end of its lifespan instead of scrapping it or selling it for cheap like you would with most ships makes the BFF-1 a very sound investment. Action 6 Transport. If the interchangeable cargo pods of the BFF-1 sound like too much work, you might like an Action 6 bulk freighter instead. It was slightly smaller than the BFF-1 at 110 meters long, but it had a built-in cargo capacity of 80,000 tons. It had a crew of 8, but this could be expanded if your operations required it. The Action 6 was unarmed and poorly armored, so like the BFF-1, it was a common target for pirates. However, it was also popular among pirates, who liked to modify them into interceptor frigates, which added armor and turbolasers to allow them to fight against larger ships. The Action 6 was also used by legendary smuggler Talon Card, who armed his with 3 turbolasers and converted some of the cargo space into a hangar to carry a shuttle or starfighter. With its simple and highly modifiable design, you are sure to be happy with the Action 6. It would be a great first bulk freighter for a shipping company looking to upgrade their game beyond Gozanti freighters and GR-75s. If it piques your interest, you can pick it up for a comfortable 200,000 credits. Baleen-Class Heavy Freighter. Moving up in scale, the next freighter I would like to share with you is the Baleen-Class Heavy Freighter. This is an unusual design with a large hangar and internal cargo bays at the front of the ship, a bank of engines at the rear, and a large grid in the middle to which hundreds of cargo containers could be attached externally. The hangar at the front, in conjunction with the ship's tractor beams, could also be used to capture and salvage objects found drifting in space, such as smaller starships. The Baleen-Class measured 426 meters long by about 194 meters wide and 50 meters tall. It had a crew of 6, but could be operated by as few as 2 or by more if necessary. It had a Class 2 hyperdrive and a top speed of 750 kilometers per hour. We don't know its cargo capacity, but given its size, it is probably about 100 to 200,000 metric tons. Its price was unknown as well, but estimates I have seen place it at 375,000 credits, an excellent price for a ship of its size. It was slow, bulky, and unarmed, but its variety of cargo storage methods made it a very versatile freighter. Lucrehulk. One of the largest freighters in the galaxy was the Lucrehulk. While it is more famous for its use during the Clone Wars as a battleship and droid control ship, it originally started out as a humble cargo ship. Well, maybe not humble. The Lucrehulk-class LH-3210 cargo freighter measured a whopping 3,357 meters long by 3,009 meters wide and 1,029 tall, or roughly 1.8 miles in diameter. It had a cargo capacity of 25 million metric tons of cargo and 500 days of consumables. It could be crewed by either 25 command staff and 150 droids, or 500 total organic or droid crew. The 500 quantity comes from Legends, while the 25 and 150 is canon, but these stats can coexist if we interpret them as being from different model years. Presumably the version with the greater crew requirements is an older model. Unlike the other ships we've seen so far, the Lucrehulk was heavily armed. By default, in its original LH-3210 configuration, it could have either 28 or 42 quad turbo laser batteries. And of course, the famous battleship upgrade gives it even more. I'll save a detailed breakdown for a dedicated video, but it added about a dozen additional turbo laser batteries and hundreds of laser cannons and point defense cannons as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem likely that the Lucrehulk was available for sale to the public, so if you would like to acquire a Lucrehulk for your freight business, you are almost certainly out of luck unless you are a Neimoidian who can pursue a career in the Trade Federation and work your way up to becoming the captain of one. If you could convince Horsch Kessel Drive Inc. to sell you one somehow, though, it would cost you a staggering 500 million credits. Field-Secured Container Vessel. The FSCV is the final ship on our list, and possibly one of the most unusual in the galaxy. It consisted of 2 Star Destroyer-sized tugs suspending a chain of 800-meter-wide force field bubbles in between. The FSCV was manufactured by both the Lorinar Corporation and Rendili Star Drive. The Lorinar version could generate up to 20 field bubbles, giving it a maximum length overall of 19,200 meters with all bubbles active, or about 12 miles. It could carry up to 5 billion cubic meters of cargo, 250 million per bubble. If we assume the bubbles are the same as the Rendili version, even though we probably shouldn't, that would translate to 2.2 billion tons. For some reason, the Rendili version measures its cargo capacity in tons like most Star Wars ships, but the Lorinar version measures it in cubic meters. That's arguably a more useful unit of measurement for spaceship cargo, but whatever. The Rendili version is slightly smaller. It can only support 9 field bubbles and has a maximum length of 10,400 meters, or about 6.5 miles. It can carry up to 990 million tons of cargo, 110 per bubble, and if the bubbles are the same as the Lorinar version, this comes out to 2.25 billion cubic meters. Despite its immense size, the FSCV had a crew of just 100 per tug for the Rendili version, and probably a few more for the Lorinar. So what do you do with a cargo ship that big? Well, the field-secured container vessel would pass through a system at sublight speeds, where standard cargo ships would ferry cargo to and from the FSCV while it is in motion. It, as far as I can tell, had no hyperdrive and took 35 hours to accelerate to top speed from a full stop or vice versa, so obviously you would want to keep it in motion. These were mostly used to supply Imperial operations, with many of them being used to transport fuel for the Empire's similarly enormous warships. I think it goes without saying that the FSCV was not available for sale to the public, and as such no price tag for it has been published. However, due to their size, I would guess that each FSCV tug probably costs about as much as a Star Destroyer, or around 150 million credits, or 300 million for the pair to make the full ship. And those are the best bulk freighters in Star Wars. I'd also like to give an honorable mention to the Darius G freighter and its spin-off, the Mining Guild freighter. I wanted to include these because they were just featured in Star Wars Outlaws, which also confirmed what was sort of obvious from looking at them, in that they are related to each other, but the small end of the bulk freighter market was already covered with the BFF-1 and Action 6, so I didn't feel like we needed two more. There also just wasn't a whole lot of information about them, even from unofficial sources like fan-made RPG stats, so I had to cut them. Anyway, let me know which of these you would most want to use and what kind of freight you'd haul with it in the comments. The field-secured container vessel is the most interesting of them to me because of how different it is from the usual Star Wars ships, and I think the Lucra Hulk is probably the best overall, but something about the BFF-1 is just sort of friendly looking to me. I guess that's why it's called the BFF. But let me know what you think. Subscribe as well, and I will see you next week. RFC out.